I'm Joy Womack, a professional ballerina. Today we are going to go through the different levels of ballet. In the interest of time, we're going to be focusing on turns. The fouette sequence in Swan Lake, it is seen as a step that shows your mastery and your control. I would pick Swan Lake as a representative of the cumulative challenges of being a principal ballerina. As a disclaimer, this is my interpretation of complexity. Level 1, plie. A plie is a building block of our technique. It basically means in French to bend. So it could be a bending of the knee, a bending of the ankle, but in this case, we're gonna start in our 5 positions. It's important for the plies to keep your heels on the ground and be able to feel your pinky toes pushing into the floor. The plie is the foundation of ballet because you can't jump, you can't turn, and you can't move without being able to bend your knees in an outward turned out position. Level 2, tendu. The tendu starts with your feet in first position or in 5th position, and you brush along the floor, moving through the demi-point or bending of the toes to stretch the toes completely, and then back to the position from where you started. Level 3, alignment. In any movement that we're gonna do next, you're gonna always have to think about your hips and your shoulders on the same line. We are not only thinking of body alignment, we wanna be able to dance so that our audience can see all parts of our body and we can use the space in a way that makes sense. So we have what we call in ballet effacé or en face. We also have écarté, and these are all the different movements and different planes that we work in. When I'm doing my passe, I like to really think about the back of my thigh pressing to the back of the room. And I feel like that keeps me stable and helps me really rotate from the inner parts of my hip. Lots of things can go wrong in the passe. You can fall down towards your knee. You have to keep it up high, and you can't let your foot cross over your knee as well. You have to be able to stand on one leg instead of 2 legs and be able to use your knee and your feet joints to be able to then go on to the more difficult steps that come after it. Level 5, attitude. What it means is basically a bent leg. I try to think about lifting the knee up and trying to turn out the foot as much as I can to keep it in that straight line. In the world of classical ballet, and this is definitely arguable, we have 3 main schools of dance with the French school of the attitude. The foot and the knee are almost perpendicular to each other. And in the American school, it's slightly similar, but the leg is lifted higher. And then the Russian school being the most extreme. And the reason why I have it here is because the things that you can do with turning in an attitude position make it more complex than some of the levels that we've had. You need extreme balance, control in order to turn in this position of attitude. Level 6, Arabesque. This is the graduation of passe, tendu, attitude. You have to be able to turn out your legs, and then you have to be able to hold that position. There are officially 4 different arabesques. So you have first arabesque, second arabesque, third arabesque, and fourth arabesque. Either second arabesque or fourth arabesque can be the hardest because your body is in such extreme twisting positions, and your eyes and your arms and your parabol all has to be connected to make this movement that it seems so simple but is so complex. Let's look at a sequence. Level 7, développé. Start from your 5th position. You pull your foot up through the passe, and then you lift your heel forward, and then you're lifting your leg over 90 degrees. You have to be so stable on your standing hip and be able to bring your foot forward while not letting your hips fall forward, which we're going back to our alignment. And you can do this développé at various levels and speed. This is when you use your artistry to then be able to go into the center and tell a story. Level 8, grand battement. Grand battement here is a huge throwing of the leg to 180 degrees or your maximum amount of strength. So flexibility is imperative here. Certainly 100% you need the splits. And then you also need a strong, stable supporting leg. You have to be able to move and use your body. And the grand battement helps you train for your jumps. So I've placed it after the attitude and after the passe on purpose because it's a very dynamic movement. Level 9, en pointe. Pointe is a very special skill where you have to be able to hold all of your positions, to be able to dance, do your attitude, do your tendus on a platform that's this small. So it is something that you really have to love in order to commit to being on pointe. And it actually is destructive to your body to be on pointe shoes. So that is one of the reasons why I put it here. Level 10, spotting. This is the secret to balance and the secret to dynamic momentum. This is a technique where we use our eyes. We face forward, we pick one place, and we turn our eyes as much as we can, finding that spot, the same exact place that we were just before. Level 11, chaîné turn. Now we're really getting into the technique of how to do turns. It actually means chain. So it means one thing after another. We start a chaîné turn with our legs in tendu and one of our arms out. Make a half turn where we go into a second position and then we go back into a first position. You do that in succession and you add speed, and then all of a sudden you have a sequence of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Level 12, pirouette. A pirouette is a full rotation that you do from a fixed position, either fifth position, fourth position, or second position. You want to take the space with the middle finger and you want to have the second arm push and come and meet the first arm. You want to keep everything on the same plane, keeping your arm strong and then your standing arm strong, and then you want to spot and keep it and then finish very nicely. There are so many different ways to start a pirouette depending on where you are in the world and what school of dance that you're going through. So the French, the Russian, and the American way, they all have a different takeoff and landing position. Let's look at a sequence. Level 13, expression. Expression entails being able to convince and portray to the audience the emotion that you have inside and make that something that is physical and understandable. The reason why I put it in this order is it can be actually really difficult to find the right expression for the right movement. For example, swan lake, the save movement with the arms, can be either sad or it can be sharp and contrasting and dynamic as well. Some people argue that you can't teach expression. I believe that you can. It's something that is passed down through a relationship between a teacher and a student, and it's an ability to build trust between your teacher and yourself to find something that's inside of you and then be able to replicate that and put that into your body and make it seem organic. Level 14, glissade. Now we're moving on to the jumps. Now we're leaving the floor. We have to go from our fifth position, use our tendu, use our dynamic strength from the grand battement. So the glissade has to be a sharp movement and the feet have to leave the floor at the same time, stay up in the air, and then close at the same time. Often the glissade, you turn out either the leg that's going first or the leg that's coming in. So then it looks very turned in or sickled. Or you plie and you leave one leg and then you leave the floor only for 1 second and then the second leg comes up. You really want to be able to have a moment in the air with two legs pointed and then two legs in fifth position. The glissade is so important for being able to have nice connecting steps. So you have to be able to do your pambe, pas de bras, glissade. So those are all different steps which are going to lead to our next level. Petit allegro is super complicated and you need a lot of coordination from your upper body, your port de bras, and your lower legs to be able to do this quick movement and give the audience an impression that it's super light and super easy. You have to be able to keep your ribs in and your body not going up and down, and you have to keep everything in one place while using your arms and making the movements that you're doing very quickly with your feet seem light and fast. Level 16, entrecôte or beats. So now that we've talked about petit allegro, you can then complicate that petit allegro by adding a beat. So an example of some of those beats would be an entrecôte or an entrecôte. A few tips that I try to think about when I do my entrecôte or my entrecôte is trying to change the leg first, to really try to get that first beat because the next beats will come easier. If you're late to get the first beat, oftentimes you don't arrive with the right foot in the end in the position. Level 17, cabriole. Now we've talked about beats. Now we've talked about petit allegro. Now we've talked about quickness. A cabriole is a larger jump which you need your grand battement for. You take off You brush the leg up to a grand battement, and your bottom leg has to meet the top leg and then come down back into fifth position. It's a great example of a jump that can be a small jump, a medium jump, or a large jump. Level 18 is our tour en l'air. It's a full rotation. It's an actual turn in the air, tour en l'air, and then you land in fifth position. For the men, that's often a double turn in the air. For the women, it's normally a single turn, even though I've done it in Diana and Acton, I've done a double assemblée, and it takes extreme coordination that you have from your pirouette to be able to get around. It's really important to keep your alignment in line. You have to have such quick coordination for it. I would recommend that dancers really use their spotting technique for the tour en l'air. If you lose your spot, it's very hard to make the rotation. Level 19, pas de chat or saut de chat. What I think of a grand pas de chat is a big jump in a split. You really want to try to get your knee up as high as you can so that your back leg can get up as high as it can. You have several different iterations of a pas de chat, and that means different things to different people. They call this jump the step of the cat because you have to have a very nice and light landing. If you've ever seen a cat try to jump onto something, they jump and arrive there at the same time. Level 20, grand allegro. This is now all that we've done before put together to explosive music, and it is very exciting to watch. The Grand Allegro requires a ton of stamina and a ton of musicality. If you can't hear the music, you can be seen as being heavy or behind, and you have to have coordination with your music and with your body to be able to give the impression that it's super light and that it's super easy for you to do. For me, it's a moment in the class that I have time to dance for myself, so often my expression shines through, whether I'm feeling funny or sad or excited. All of those emotions can be showcased in a Grand Allegro. Level 21 is our fouettes. So you start with a pirouette and you're doing a rond jump out to the side, and then you're pulling in 4 pirouette to your passe. You have to have extreme stamina of your supporting leg, extreme coordination, and then you have to use spot. This is performed at the very culmination, the very end of the pas de deux, to showcase the ballerina's prowess, the ballerina's technical mastery. It can go wrong so fast. If you don't have a spot, you're gonna fly off to the side. It's a culmination of not being able to give in to feeling tired, and then also finishing with showing the audience that that was just very easy for you. Let's look at a sequence. I know that ballet can seem like it's something otherworldly and unattainable, but dance and ballet is actually for every single person, and I would challenge the audience members who enjoy this video to go out and find an adult beginner class. It doesn't matter if you don't do things perfectly. We all are on a constant search for perfection, but perfection doesn't exist, so just be the best self you can be and enjoy dancing.